Welcome to this week's episode of the Lindsey Elmore Show. Today we will be talking about the age-old excuse, I don't have enough time. First up, we'll be talking with Tonya Dalton about setting goals that lead you to make daily decisions that get you towards your ultimate destination. And then we will talk with Jenny Fenig, who coaches women to do what we all want to do, which is make more money with less effort. Thank you so much for listening to or watching the Lindsey Elmore Show. Send us a suggestion, a comment, or a question to www.lindseyelmore.com/podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And now let's get to the show. Welcome to the Lindsey Elmore Show, a podcast that helps you find fulfillment amidst chaos. On this show, I interview thought leaders, doctors, creatives, spiritual gurus, and game changers who inspire you to pursue your dreams, overcome obstacles, and leave your mark. Tonya, thank you so much for joining me today on the Lindsey Elmore Show. It's an honor to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited for us.
I have to say, I have absolutely loved your book. You can see I've got all my tabs where I keep track of everything. And the thing I like most about it is you are such a champion of helping women create their biggest impact. So what got you to this point? How did you get inspired to write this? And who do you think about when you think about the perfect reader who needs to create their biggest impact?
Yeah, well, I love this question because really, as I was writing the book, I have a woman in mind who I imagine as I'm writing the words, I'm imagining me reading these words out loud to her and how she's going to react to it. So I literally can picture the woman sitting across from me when I'm writing it. And I think, really, honestly, I wrote this book because I feel like this is the book that women need. It's this permission, not just to let go of busy and to not just focus on your priorities, but how am I going to do that? Because I feel like there's a lot of books out there that are like, rah, you can do it. And then you close that cover and you're like, okay, but how? Mm-hmm. And I want to give people this roadmap of this is how you can make it work. Because I was finding again and again and again that I would talk to women in all walks of life, no matter what they were doing or what age they were. And I'd say, how's your business? How's your family life? How's life in general? And they would say, overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. Yes. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I'm overwhelmed by all the things I have to do. I'm overwhelmed by all the things at home. I'm overwhelmed by my own to-do list. And I was like, we've got to stop this. This feeling of overwhelm isn't something that we have to live with all the time. It doesn't have to be our normal state. And I feel like often we feel like this is just how life is. And it doesn't have to be that way. You can have a very successful business. I run a very successful business and still have a very happy, successful home life. And in fact, if you have both of those working in tandem, life is fabulous. Life is amazing.
Yes.
Because you are able to pour yourself into your work when home life is running smoothly. You're able to give your family their full attention, that they deserve, not just that you want, but they deserve when your work life is running seamlessly. And I think all of these things run together, and not enough books have talked about that holistic version of who we are. They talk about productivity at work, but what about at home and all of that? So I wanted it all to work together.
And you say in the book that, there's some words and some concepts that we need to just let go. And the first one you already mentioned, we have to let go of busy. Busy does not mean anything other than you don't know where to start. And the other concept you say that we need to let go of is the concept of balance. And I think that's such a buzzword, but why do you say we have to give up balance when it sounds like what you just said is when you are kind of in balance at home and at work, everything works together. So tell us about, what do you mean by giving up the concept of balance?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. We are always in pursuit of this mythical balance that life and work is like all even and equal. And here's the truth. If life is equal in all places, we're not really leaning into a priority. We're not really giving it the attention it needs to flourish and to thrive and to grow. And so we have to counterbalance. It's good to lean into an area of our life for a season and then counterbalance back. It's just like riding a bike, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's great if you want to go straight and not choose your path, just stay perfectly balanced. But if you want to turn left, you got to lean to the left. Now, you
Yep.
can't lean too long because you'll fall over and hurt yourself. You have to
Totally.
balance and right yourself up. And then if you want to choose to turn right, you're going to lean to the right. And then you have to counterbalance. And it's the same thing with our lives. If we want our business to flourish, we need to lean into work for a little while. But we can't stay lean too long because we'll fall over, we'll hurt ourselves. So we have to counterbalance. And then have a season of leaning into family, and then counterbalance, and then have a season of leaning into, your personal life and your relationships and counterbalance. So it's a series of leaning and counterbalancing. If life is perfectly balanced, you're not leaning in any direction. You're not pouring yourself fully. And that's why you're not seeing growth, because you're not really giving it the time, the energy, and the focus that it needs to grow.
I completely agree. This is the myth that so many women fall into the trap of, the myth of I can have it all. I mean, of course you can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. And I think one of the reasons that women really struggle is we can't make choices. We say yes to everything. And so why do you think it is so difficult for women just to say, no, I don't want to work on this right now. I don't want to do this?
I think I think you've hit it on the head. Exactly. It's because, first of all, we're afraid for opportunity to pass us by. We feel like it knocks and we have to answer that door every single time because
that FOMO is real.
Right?
Real.
So real. And a lot of these opportunities that come our way, we really should just leave that door shut or just close it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not for you, and that's okay. I think that truly is part of really becoming a good, strong businesswoman, is understanding what are the opportunities you want to say yes to, what do you want to say no to, because truly it's not this idea of this blanket statement of saying no. It's finding your yeses. What are the yeses that are really aligned to your North Star, your mission, your vision, your core values? What are the things that are going to feel good and have the impact we really want? But I think we struggle because of FOMO. I think we struggle because of guilt. We as women are givers. We love to give.
Yes.
Giving to ourselves.
Yes.
Here's the thing is, every time you're saying yes to someone else's project, every time you're saying yes to someone else's passion or their volunteer opportunity, you're saying no to your own goals. You're saying no to time with your family. You're saying no to the things that are truly your priorities. And in pursuit of making everybody else happy, we're saying no to the things that are truly most important to us. And so I think when we realize every yes has a no hidden inside, and we look for that no, we begin to realize, oh, I've been saying no all along. I've been saying no to the wrong things.
Yeah, absolutely. We're terrified of it. And you said one thing that I really want to talk about. And I also want, you and I have talked about how we can craft, how we can more easily say no. And so just quickly, because I want to get back to the North Star that you just mentioned, because I think that that's a critical part of the joy of missing out. And I've got it tagged here. Why do we need the North Star? But for a woman who is just so stuck and just cannot bring herself to say no to anyone, anything, what is the one sentence that you use that any woman can say, okay, I now know how to say no?
Well, I really think, first of all, it's about entertaining the opportunity instead of assuming that just because you have the time, it's the answer. So anytime somebody asks you like, hey, what do you have going on this weekend? It's not an immediate, well, nothing. Why? Because you're giving them full access to your calendar. Start by asking the question, I'm not sure. What do you have going on? Let's entertain the opportunity before we just give them, carte blanche to our calendar, which is what we're doing, right? So really, too, one of my favorite phrases to say is, oh, unfortunately, I can't give it the time it deserves. So I'm not elevating myself, right? I'm not saying, oh, I'm so busy, this is a badge of honor. I'm saying what you're doing is very important and it deserves time. that I am unable to give.
Yep.
Most people, when they hear that phrase, they take it really well because you're basically telling them, I can see this is important. And I would love to give it, but I can't give my time. So really doing
Right.
that and elevating what they are loving or what they're desiring instead of yourself makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And it gives you such an easy out as well to just say, your work is so important to me that you only deserve the most dedicated of people. And
Yes.
that's what you're giving them. You're saying, I am not the best team player for you right now. And it's such an easy way out to say,
Is because truly, when we're spreading ourselves so thin, we're not really giving our best version to these yeses. We're not giving our best us. We're giving
yes.
them the halfway, half-hearted, maybe irritated, maybe a little bit
Mm-hmm.
resentful us, which is not
Yes.
the full version that any of us deserve. And
Mm-hmm.
so, really choosing the things that deserve your time and pouring yourself more fully into it, those are the yeses that are going to feel good, that you're not going to feel resentful about, that you're going to be excited to do.
Right. And when you say yes, when it is connected to that North Star, I love what you say in the book. This is one of those tweetable moments. When we live our lives using our North Star, we take ownership of our legacy. This is so profound because it's a moment where we go, what do I want people to say about me at my funeral?
Yeah.
Do we want to hear, oh, she was so busy. She was on every committee, but she never really put her whole heart into it. So talk to us about a North Star and how it can help us survey those opportunities as they come along and help us decide, is this a good decision for my business, for my family, for my time, etc.
Yeah, that's what I love about the North Star is it really is your guiding light. Like it's guiding you on the path you want to be on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your North Star is made up of three things: your mission statement, your vision statement, and your core values. So your mission statement says why you do what you do. It's not
Yeah.
what you do, it's why you're doing it. What's the problem you're solving? What is it that lights your soul on fire that gets you to want to do your job every day, right?
Yeah.
Your mission statement tells you why you do what you do. Then the vision statement says where you want to go. It's really hard to know what you want to do if you don't know where you're going, right? You're just
Right.
getting in the car with no GPS thinking you're going to get to
Yes.
the destination. So we want to know where we're going. So that's our vision statement. And then the third thing is our core values. And our core values tell us how we're going to get there. What are the
Mm-hmm.
things that are truly going to be important to us on this journey from where we are now to where it is we want to go in the future?
Yep.
So, why we do what we do, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. That's our North Star. And when we use that as our filter for everything we do, every decision that comes up in our business or in our personal life, it really makes it easy to separate. It's such a great filter when opportunities show up, whether that's, in my business or at home. I ask myself, does this really fulfill why I do what I do? Okay, yes.
Yes.
Then I ask the next question, is this going to get me where I want to go? And then I
Mm-hmm.
ask the third question, does this really fit my morals, my values, how I want to get there? That needs to
Mm-hmm.
feel good to the soul, right? If
Right.
the answer is yes to all of those, that's a clear and simple answer. This is a good opportunity. I need to entertain it. I need to look next at, do I have the time? We don't ask about
Yes.
time first, we entertain the opportunity. So I think this is really such a good tool to use in order to know, do I want this new product to add that into my listings? Do I want to partner with this vendor? Do I want to align and collaborate with this other influencer? Do I want
Yes.
all questions? Everything can get filtered through that North Star. And it's so much easier to really make those decisions because you're
Mm-hmm.
right. Making decisions is hard. It can be difficult, especially when there's a lot of opportunities showing up all at once. And we
Yes.
love to say yes. We love
Well,
it.
and I think it's even harder I mean, it's hard as a woman, it's hard as a parent, and it's definitely hard as a businesswoman when you have so many people that want to work with you, or you get entertained by this salesperson or that salesperson. And I know I learned some really tough lessons last year about allowing people to be persuasive even after I've said No. And that's challenging when people just come back and they're like, but. And so, how do you just put your foot down? Do you tell people directly in your business? Do you have other people tell people directly? Like, how do you manage it when people just keep coming back? It's another committee at your kid's school. It's another recital. It's another this, another that.
It depends on the situation. So certain things at work, I have different team members, and then they have parameters that they know what the answer needs to be without me having to answer it. So, for example, we get asked a lot for, speaking opportunities, for doing reviews, for doing donations, for doing all those things. And we love to donate. We donate a ton of products to, especially the teachers organization, battered women's shelters. And so one of the things we've had to realize is that we want to pour ourselves fully. And you keep hearing me say, pour yourself, right? Because it
Mm-hmm.
really is about being all in.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
not about being halfway in. It's not about being like, oh, I'll dip my toe in a couple of things. It's pouring yourself into it, right?
Yep.
So what we do, for example, for those kinds of requests is we have a type form where they answer the questions automatically. Then it goes to a team member who can assess it. Does this really fit the philanthropies that we like to support? Is this, the right use of our resources? Does this, and so they can answer. First question is, does this fit our North Star? And
Uh-huh.
then they can give the no's for me, because let's be honest, we are the CEOs of our business. It doesn't mean for chief everything officer. You don't
Oh.
to do everything. It's good to outsource. It's good to delegate. And truly, I like to look at delegation as opportunities for development. You're
Mm-hmm.
allowing people on your team to develop and gain skill sets that will help them as they continue along, hopefully with you, if you like them,
Yeah.
grow into these new roles that are going to happen as your business evolves. So certain things my team says no to, but there are certain things that come up that I have to say no to. We have partnerships and licensing agreements and things like that come up. I really need to assess, is this someone that I really want to work with? And if it's not,
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be a very, very clear no, right? Like
Yep.
that is it. This is not going to happen. Or, I've really gotten to where I'm turning down I get asked to speak a lot for free.
Oh, it's the worst, right?
This is one of the things that I'm about to just start. As women, we are asked again and again. I think people would be shocked if they knew how many times events that are making money are asking us to speak for free. And then when you
Yeah.
say, I don't speak for free, they go, well, I thought you were about supporting women.
But I am. I have to make a living supporting women. That's part of it.
My team likes to have their mortgages paid, and they like to be able to eat. I can't pay my team in hugs. I've tried it. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. No, it does not.
I mean, it'd be great if it did, but I don't think they're going to, accept that. So those are opportunities that I'm like, no, I just say no to that now. The
Yeah.
only time I say yes to speaking for free is if it's a philanthropy that I personally, with my own money, support and
Yeah.
my own time. Those are yeses to me, right?
Okay.
In my home life with my kids, it's a little trickier. Like I'm the one who has to say no. That's really where you have to separate the request from the relationship. That
Yeah.
really, you saying no to your kid being, let's say, on a travel soccer team doesn't make you a bad mom. It makes
Right.
you a better mom if it's not the right fit for your family, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, if your family loves traveling and doing soccer, then that's a great fit for you. But if you're going to grumble about it and complain, not a good fit, right?
Absolutely.
So it really is kind of reconciling those stories we tell ourselves about what a good wife does, what a good mom does, what a good business owner does, what a good woman, a good friend, all of those things. We tell ourselves these stories of what is good and what is bad, and there's no middle ground, right?
I know. I know. I love the section in the book about myths that we tell ourselves. And the first myth is, I'm an excellent multitasker. I don't have time to take a break. I should always be using technology. But we have all kinds of myths that prevent us from crafting great habits. And one of them you just mentioned is that there is a concept of what the ideal woman looks like, and that it doesn't exist. It does not exist.
Barbie only fits in a box. Let's be honest.
100%. So tell us how, okay, so you're not a big fan of the to-do list. And I know for me, learning from you, learning about priority lists is amazing. And I love the way you break it up and talking about what is important and what is urgent, and then figuring out your priorities based on those things. How can using this priority list help us to stay on course with our North Star and also craft the daily habits that you mentioned getting towards the end of the book? We have to craft habits that keep us pointed in this direction. And how does a priority list help us do that?
Yes, I am not a fan of to-do lists because, as we mentioned earlier, that's one of the things that overwhelm us. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, LinkedIn did a survey and found only 11% of business professionals actually complete their to-do list.
Well,
It's
it's because it's an endless list. There is no end to
I
it.
know, and we're adding things to it haphazard, it's unorganized. And because it's not getting completed, we feel that, oh, at the end of the day, I didn't do enough. I should have worked harder, right? We feel guilty. And so I say you toss the to-do list and you make a
Mm-hmm.
to-do list. It's a
Mm-hmm.
to-do list with intention. So essentially, we take our tasks each day and we look at what's achievable for today. What can I
Mm-hmm.
really get done today? Instead of trying to get 50 things done, what are the 5 things I can get done today? Or what are the 6 things at the very most? And then we split it up into these categories of escalate, cultivate, and accommodate. So
Okay. All right.
is at the very top, and these are tasks that are important, but they're also urgent. So important means it's connected to your North Star, it's linked to a goal, it's something that absolutely has to be done by you, can't be done by somebody else, and it's
Yep.
going to be an investment. It's something that's advantageous and that it's going to help us, tomorrow and in the future. It's an investment in you.
Yep.
It's also urgent. So some things that are important are tied to those goals, tied to your North Star. Urgent just means, hey, it's got a deadline and it's
It's got to
coming
get
up.
done now.
That's the only thing urgent means. But the tasks you put at the top under escalate are important and they happen to be urgent.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next category right underneath that are the cultivate tasks. So these are tasks that are important. They're connected to your North Star, linked to your goal, advantageous, but they're not urgent. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have a deadline. However, these are the tasks that are truly going to drive you forward. It's taking time to do a marketing plan, right? It's taking
Get
time.
writing a budget every year. The things that are so not fun but transform your company.
Oh my gosh, this is where we see leaps and bounds in our personal growth, in our professional growth, because this is where we are truly investing in our futures. So
Mm-hmm.
the problem is because there's no urgent deadline, those get kind of pushed to the side, like, I'll do it later, right? Because we like to put out the
Right.
fire.
Yep. Absolutely.
The fires really deserve to be at the very bottom under accommodate. So these are things that are urgent, but not really important.
So, yeah, we spend so much time dealing with urgency that we don't take the time to really plan. And so, what about getting to those other things, the unimportant stuff, the not urgent stuff that we spend our entire day doing? And how does this just kill our productivity and waste all of our time?
I mean, it's the minutia, right, that fills our day. It's all these little urgent tasks that we feel like we have to tackle. Those go under the category of accommodate. And it's called
Uh-huh.
accommodate because we either do it at the end of our day or we just slip those in wherever they happen to fit. They're not what we center our day on. We're not revolving our day around those tasks that aren't truly important because it's not going to help us grow. It's not going to help our businesses thrive. It's not going to help us fill our souls. It's really just things that need to be done. Going to the dry cleaner, running by Target to return a shirt, checking in on email, quite frankly.
Oh,
Is
my
what,
stars.
well,
Yes. Scrolling Facebook
like endlessly,
endlessly.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
it's an endless scroll. This is the thing is there's all these little things that pull us out of our productivity zone and distract us and that keep
Mm-hmm.
us from doing the work that will drive us forward, that really will be fulfilling. I feel like far too many women run around busy checking off the to-do list, right? Like they're checking
Mm-hmm.
100 things off, but they're slipping into bed at night going, oh, I didn't do enough. I need to do more. I didn't get enough done. They're feeling
Mm-hmm.
unsuccessful, even though they did 5,000 things in their day. But they're
Right.
checking their tails going in 100 different directions and ending up either in the same spot as they started or further behind. When
Mm-hmm.
instead, if we chose to take 5 steps, 5 intentional steps in one direction towards what's
Right.
truly important, we're going to get closer to that goal. Remember how we talked about with our North Star, where we want to go? We want to make progress every day. Just those little steps add
Yep.
up bit by bit by bit. And we undervalue that on a regular
Mm-hmm.
basis. We think that it has to be these giant leaps and bounds when really it's the small, consistent steps that make the biggest difference.
Okay, so also in your book, you mentioned that a wide open calendar is an invitation for others to cram it full with their priorities and their demands rather than your own. And you suggest a really cool 5-step system called the 5 Ps: purge, process, prioritize, protect, and propel. So tell us about these 5 Ps and how it can help us be sure that our calendar is full of what we want and not
Yes.
what other people want.
Yes, that's the big thing, really, because when you do leave your calendar wide open, people are real quick to make it full, aren't they?
Yes.
They don't think twice about it. And when you invite them in, that's what happens. So we want to make sure we take care of you and your needs, your priorities, and take care of those first. We're still allowing space and room for other people's priorities from time to time, but we're just not spending all day on those things.
For
So
sure.
I like the 5 Ps because everything that I talk about, everything that I teach when it comes to productivity is really about customizing it for you, allowing
Mm-hmm.
for that flexibility that life truly demands, because life
Mm-hmm.
is life, right? I mean, like, things happen, urgent fires crop up. You need to give yourself that grace. So
Yes.
really, it's a nice framework for you to really create some structure in your week. So the first P is to purge. So get it out of your head, right? We have a
Uh-huh.
lot of stuff going on in our brains because we're thinking about, oh, I got to do this and I need to do that. And I got to get this done. It's essentially doing a brain dump. So
Uh-huh.
I like to do this for work. I do it on Monday mornings because I like my
Okay.
week to really be about family. On Sunday afternoons, I do it with my family. So I call my family my team because I think it's really important to lean on your team and have your team work together, right? So
Yep.
we do it on Sundays as a family. Mondays, I do it for my business. Again, I'm keeping those separate. So I'm really able to lean into work when I want to lean into work and lean into home life when I'm ready to lean into home life. So basically, you're sitting down, creating a snapshot of where do I want to go this week? What would make me feel good to get done and accomplish this week? Now, when I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
this with my family, we're also divvying out and saying, all right, what do we want for meals? Who's in charge of what chores? Kate, you've got volleyball on Tuesday. Get your volleyball stuff ready for that. Making my kids accountable, right?
Yep.
Delegating to them.
Absolutely.
They are being active members of the team, getting it down on paper. So that's the first P, purge. The next P is to process. See, the
Okay.
problem is that a lot of people want to sit down on Sunday or Monday and they want to plan out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? They want to plan every day. Now that
Yes.
doesn't give us that grace that we need. That doesn't give us any room
There's no
for,
flexibility.
or breakdowns of the car or anything else. So really, we want to process each day as it comes. Treat each day as a new opportunity. So sit down the first 10 minutes of your day, and really, once you get good at it, it's like 5 minutes of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Sit down, look at that list you made, that purge list, and you're going to pull from that, and you're going to say, okay, what do I think I can accomplish today? What is achievable for today? And that's the big trick there. It's not about trying to cram your day full. It's thinking, okay, you know what? Today's a little bit of a rough start. I'm a little bit behind. I'm going to give myself fewer tasks today because I want it to be achievable. And then
Yep.
you're going to go ahead and go in with that third P, which is to prioritize. So use
Yes.
the priority list like we talked about. As you're
Mm-hmm.
writing your things down, put it under escalate, cultivate, or accommodate. Put it under the
Yep.
category it belongs in, because we always want to make sure that we're tackling those big important things first and accommodating those smaller things that are not
All
really
the minutia that
right.
fills up our day.
Unimportant things. We'll tackle those when we have space, right?
Yes.
So first P was purge, then we had process. Now the third one was prioritize. The next one is to protect. You got to
Mm-hmm.
protect your time, because truly we want to create these nice blocks of time for us to dive into that work, to get into that important work. So really blocking out your time and scheduling out and saying, okay, you know what? I feel really good at 10 o'clock in the morning. So from 10 until 11:30, that's when I'm going to work on, creating my marketing plan, or that's when I'm going to reach out to customers. And maybe you say to yourself, oh, you know what? At 1:30, I feel my most creative. So from 1:30 to, let's say, 2:30, that's your time you're going to work on some of your marketing collateral pieces, or maybe you're going to
Yes.
work on anything and everything creative. So really protecting your time by filling it up with these blocks that are scheduled for you to do your important work, and then other people can fill in, as you said, right? As
Well,
we
and I think it's important too, not getting distracted from that important work. I mean, how many times have we sat down to work on that marketing plan during that time where we feel the most dialed in, or work on the design collateral while we're being creative? And then it's, oh, squirrel takes
right?
us away. And one of the things that you talk a lot about is blocking things together, like turn off your email, turn off your text messaging, like actually allow yourself focused energy, because none of us are good multitaskers. None of
Oh,
us.
we're not. We're really not. That's a whole myth that we can multitask. Our brain
It's
is not.
not how our brains are built. Our brain is built to focus on one thing.
And our biggest shiny object syndrome, the squirrel thing, is the ping of the inbox, which I can guarantee
Yes.
is mostly filled with those accommodate items more than they are
Mm-hmm.
truly the things that are important. So one of the things we talk about when we talk about batching these tasks is you still have to answer your emails, right? You still want to reply to customers or people on your team. But if you, instead of just doing it every time the inbox calls you in and you're spending your whole day in there, let's do it, a couple of times throughout the day. I do it
Yep.
4 times a day. Once mid-morning, once around lunch, once mid-afternoon, and once in the evening. You're really able to get in a good rhythm of answering
Mm-hmm.
those emails, and you have bigger blocks of time for the truly important work. So really giving yourself that space to dive in fully. Again, that idea of pouring yourself fully, not halfway, into
Yep.
the tasks that are really going to drive you forward.
Yeah.
All in, not halfway,
I
right?
think I think batching emails is one of the best things ever, because for me, I know I get overwhelmed when my inbox is just full of stuff. But when you actually stop and say, I am going to work on this one thing for the next 3 hours, all of a sudden it becomes a great time to unsubscribe from all those mailing lists that you don't want to have subscriptions to. And it allows your inbox to not be so junked up, and it's part of that purging process too, just cleaning stuff out. um
There's so much noise in our inbox.
yes.
When you give yourself that space, and you, like I said, you can get in a really good rhythm of responding to customers or responding to clients, and you can actually give yourself more fully to those customers and clients if you're giving that a dedicated block of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that's really important. We want to make sure that we do that fourth P. We want to protect our time. So we're really
Yes.
putting it on the things that are most important, not getting distracted, not getting pulled into 1,000 different ways. And then
Yes. Okay, so after we protected, now we've got to propel. What is that?
that's our last P, is to propel. So you'll hear me, on my podcast, in the book, I use that word momentum all the time because I think momentum is fabulous for getting us.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to get started from a dead stop, isn't it?
Oh, inertia is real. Definitely real.
Yes, emotional inertia, physical inertia, all of it is so important. And so I think it's really important that we propel ourselves whenever we're working on something. How can we leave it so we're ready to pick it up the next day? So one
Mm-hmm.
of the things I talk about in the book is this idea of the 5-minute download, the 5-minute daily download, where you spend 5 minutes at the end of your workday closing up that work compartment so you can go into your home life, right? Fully with
Absolutely.
brain fully engaged with your family. That's what I mean by going into that home compartment.
And
So for
I love the daily download idea. It's so much. So walk us through it quickly. The 5 minutes.
so essentially it's 5 minutes, 5 activities. They each take 1 minute. Minute one is spent celebrating your wins. We
Heck
so
yeah.
dismiss the things that we did well. We think about all the things we did wrong. If you spend 1 minute writing down the things that you did well, feels good. We end our day with a solid win.
Totally.
Yeah, second minute, we're going to spend assessing our day. Did I put too much on my plate? Did I feel too stressed? Did I take care of my health? Did I do those things? And if you're finding that, oh gosh, I'm putting too much on my plate every day, let's scale back that priority list a little bit. Again,
Yes.
make the day achievable. So
Yep.
that's minute 2. Minute 3 is spent writing down something you did to work towards a goal. What did you do to make one step forward towards a goal? Because if you work every day, those small steps, like we said, add up quickly.
Yep.
Minute 4 is on gratitude. Always good to focus in on gratitude. What are we grateful for today? Not, oh, I'm grateful for the weather, I'm grateful for my family. What specifically are you grateful for today? And then minute 5 is, okay, what are the tasks I really want to tackle tomorrow? I'm going to get them out of my brain onto the paper so that I'm not thinking about them when I go home, right?
Yes.
I want to put them in here. And I'm saying when you go home, a lot of people I know work from their homes. So it really is truly even more important to have a ritual to get you out of work mode and into home mode if you're working. So important, right?
Oh my God, I'm terrible at it. I mean, I still find myself at 8, 9 o'clock at night, still talking to people and still answering text messages. And I also find, when you're working from home and you're crafting a team that usually works from home, everybody works weird, wonky hours. And if you don't put some parameters on it, whenever anyone else is working, you are also working. And that's something I have one woman who works for me. She's only 19 years old. It's not her full-time job. She works 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night Central. And when she texts me, I'm like, you're going to get an answer tomorrow, because it's too late for me to turn that side of my brain back on. So getting a ritual is great.
It makes a huge difference, because what I love about doing this 5 minutes is that you are closing that work life, part of you, and moving into your home life part of you, which is a really important part that we need to make sure that we're nourishing. Let's be honest. I don't think anyone goes into business going, gosh, I really hope I can work 90-hour weeks. I really hope I'm stressed out about payroll. We get into it because we want to create a life for ourselves that has that flexibility. Allows us to give ourselves to our family while still getting an income and being happy with getting that income, right?
Yes,
so
I know.
Let's create those boundaries, and having this ritual helps. But it also helps because you take that piece of paper, you set it on your desk, and guess what you use the next day when it's time to process? You're using that as your momentum. You start by looking over, what did I get accomplished yesterday? That feels pretty good to start your day with yesterday's wins. That is a solid win. Then you're going through and looking, okay, I put too much on my plate yesterday. I need to make sure I'm putting less on today. Oh, these are the things I wanted to tackle today. And then you use that as your springboard to move you into today. And that really is telling ourselves. Give ourselves some pats on the back. Let's celebrate the things we did well instead of just focusing in on all the things we messed up on, that we didn't do right, that we didn't do well. Let's really give ourselves some solid wins.
Just re-engaging that cycle of guilt, which is where we started, and it drags so many women down. Well, Tonya, I am so excited to talk to you about your book, The Joy of Missing Out. You can find it on bookstore shelves nationwide. Well, Tonya Dalton, thank you so much for being a guest here on The Lindsey Elmore Show. We'll be right back. I never realized how much time periods took out of the day. Whether you are running to the local pharmacy to pick up some tampons or taking a break out of your busy workday to try and discreetly care for yourself, periods take up time. I learned that I could take the power back over my period with Thinks, period-proof panties that save you time when you're dealing with your period. Plus, they reduce waste and give you the confidence to tackle all of the tasks of your day. If you want to give them a try, head to www.shethinks.com/Lindsey Elmore and save $10 off of a pair of period-proof panties. That's www.shethinks.com/Lindsey Elmore to save $10 off a pair of period-proof panties. Jenny Fenig specializes in empowering creative women entrepreneurs to increase their confidence, impact, and their money, as well as their time freedom by mixing modern with ancient practices. She spent the first decade of her career in a corporate space as a public relations executive and event producer, elevating the visibility and message of the biggest brands and thought leaders in the world. Jenny then shifted her focus to work with self-employed women, helping them to package their magic to exponentially grow their businesses, their income, and their joy without burnout. She's proud to lead one of the most trailblazing online community for transformational coaches, consultants, creatives, and wellness professionals who work with the energy of their intuition, the moon, the seasons, and their collective groups of incredible women leaders. Jenny is the author of Get Gutsy and is a podcast host. She was recently named a Silver Stevie Award for being Coach of the Year. Jen Fenn, welcome to the Lindsey Elmore Show.
Great to be here, Lindsey. I know we're going to have such a powerful conversation.
I know. We're saving time already. We got you a nickname, and it makes total sense. So, all right. Why did you choose to leave your corporate career to become a yogi, to then become a business owner, and now you're in a totally different space? How did this career transition come about?
Wow. It's just a powerful memory to kind of retrace those steps. Well, I was in New York City, as you are now. I was very proud to be a New York City woman, having grown up in the southern part of the United States in Florida and Georgia. So going to New York was like huge.
Hey, I'm an Alabama girl, so I definitely know that feeling.
I heard that accent. I was like, there's somewhere down there. I get you. Mine comes out if, you talk to me long enough.
Nice.
So I felt like I was living my dream. It's what it looked like on paper. And I certainly had experienced, great projects and wonderful people, and this energy of being around those who were ambitious and going after things. And I had a full schedule, and I was globally, traveling the world on projects and, all the things. But I couldn't ignore the voice inside of me, that feeling that this ain't it. This ain't it. Bringing out that Southern. I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it. Like it's fine, but it's not fine.
Well, and who wants to live fine? That's not where you want to be. So
exactly.
So you got bold and made some changes, I presume?
That's right. So I moved from public relations into a whole nother career, which was conference production, which I didn't even know was a thing until I found it. And that was an amazing career because it allowed me to create what I call something out of nothing, all right, which is what we do as entrepreneurs too. We create something out of nothing. We identify problems and we come in and we solve those problems. So we are creating something, but that thing didn't exist before we got there, right? We saw something, we had the idea, and we had the boldness and the commitment to see something through. And so with that job, I was responsible for researching with an industry to ask them via cold calls, which that is a great education.
Oh my gosh. It's a nightmare.
This is Jenny.
It's a tough job.
It is. It's like, hey, can I just, I have a few questions to talk to you about. And getting people, like, understanding the words that I could say to them to get them to talk to me. That was a big education right there. And really ask them what their biggest challenges were and what was keeping them up at night, and that we were coming in, we were going to provide a solution to those problems through a conference. They were a multi-day conference with lots of speakers and lots of content, and my job was to put all of that together. And it was really freaking hard, but also really interesting, because once you figured out how to do it, you could have some pretty good success. And I did. And that gave me a taste of getting profits, a cut of the magic, the cut of the money that came in, which I did not have any experience with that in my first job. And it showed me these people who were speaking on my stages who seemed to really enjoy what they were talking about. You know, I had keynote speakers like Tony Robbins and Tom Peters and Colin Powell, the former Secretary of State, like interesting people who would come, and I knew that we were paying them a lot of money for an hour talk. And I just thought, you know, they seem to like what they're doing. And while this has been an interesting job, that same familiar feeling came over to me, which was, this ain't it. This ain't it. You've learned what you're meant to learn. I was able to stay in both of those gigs for like 4 to 5 years. And so I kind of had this shelf life, like, okay, I learned everything I was meant to learn. It's time to jump into a new thing. I've learned everything I was meant to learn. But then you get to the point of, well, where am I supposed to jump now? Because I had this sense that this whole game, this like corporate thing, was not for me. It was not for me. I wanted a different kind of a life. I wanted more freedom over my schedule. I wanted to use my gifts in different ways, and I had to figure out where that existed. And so I had this feeling, which I didn't know where it was going to take me. And I really like to make that point to people, that you get these feelings sometimes, and they often feel like they're coming out of left field. You're like, this is really illogical. Am I going to become a yoga teacher? Because that was the feeling. I had been practicing yoga for many years. I was really, quote, good at it. I really loved it. It made me feel good. And I just had this feeling like, I think I'm supposed to sign up for yoga teacher training. I don't know why. I mean, am I going to teach yoga? What is, you know, I work in corporate. I have a very intense schedule. What is this? And I just trusted that. And so I signed up for yoga teacher training in New York City. I said, all right, I'm going to do this while I'm working full time. I took my classes on weekends and nights. And it was towards the end of that training that feeling that I had, which was, I'm not supposed to be in this other environment anymore. I couldn't ignore it any longer. And so I quit my job. It was a 6-figure job. I had no other job. I didn't know what I was going to do. It wasn't like, well, I already have this website and I'm like coaching people, or I'm doing this, or I'm already in an online program and I'm learning about XYZ. None of that was going on. This was back in 2007. Like everything looked different back then. Facebook was very new. I wasn't even on it, you know? And so it was just this, I felt like I was in this very lonely place, but I had this deep connection with my own inner voice, and I chose to trust her and jump off the cliff, which was terrifying. And soon after that, as space opened up on my schedule, which is a beautiful thing and also can feel scary when you're not used to that, I stumbled upon this world of coaching through a workshop I had signed up to attend that was being held by the guy who owned the yoga studio that I was doing my training. So you see all the little pieces connect. And while I was in that training, I met a woman who was a coach, and I'm like, tell me more about this coach thing. Like, what do you do with that? And she described it, and I go, that's me. That's always who I've been. And so I signed up for a coach training, and gosh, you could say the rest is history. A lot's happened since, but yeah, I was really put here to be a coach and a guide to my clients. I work with women exclusively, really helping them get their magic out into the world and make money from their magic, and do it in their own way, on their own time, so they can be there for their families. They can decide when and where they work and with whom they work. And it's a very gratifying path. And it has been, oh my gosh, the ride of my life to get here.
So why women? Why did you decide to work with women, other than you are a woman, you resonate with the problems women have, and you had a solution for women? But why was it so important for you to really focus in? Because I think one of the biggest problems entrepreneurs have is they try to be everything for everyone, and it never works. That ain't it. And so, so how did you identify this is my ideal person that I want to work with, and here is the problems that they have and the solutions that I can offer?
Yeah, great question. Well, so much of it was just looking back on my own life and going, when was I most happy? Well, I was most happy when or feeling like I really had found my place, if you will, to serve and to be a leader when I was around groups of women. And so I was looking back like, oh, I was on the all-girls softball team, and I was a cheerleader, and we did have a few guys, who were amazing guys, but it was mostly these girls, and we were like the sisters to each other. And then once I, went onto the coaching path, I had a few guy clients because they're like, oh yeah, I need your help, and they were great to work with. But I found like the way I made the biggest impact was with women. And the big catalyst moment for me was when I had my first child. I now have 3 kids. But at that time, still living in New York City, I had my first baby. And this was when my coaching business was still like a baby coaching business.
Yeah.
And I had gone to a new mom support group when I had a newborn. Okay. And again, I'm seeing this pattern. When women gather, magic happens.
Mm-hmm.
They tell the truth. They're not trying to compete for, attention from the men, or that they need to kind of be subservient or not too, bossy or anything like that. They can just tell the truth. They can be themselves. They can feel safe in that environment. And I was so inspired by that new mom support group. And I saw that there was a need for more of those types of groups, that I said, well, I'm going to start leading these groups. And I did for an entire year. Right before we then decided to move to Massachusetts, I was leading these new mom support groups on the Upper West Side. They then just blew up. We had groups all over the city. I was training people to lead the groups and doing second-time mom groups, entrepreneur groups, working mom groups. I mean, it just took off. And I just saw this: when women gather, magic happens. And I want to be part of this conversation. And by doing that work, I realized that my big fascination was helping women who, like me, love to work.
Uh-huh.
Who love to work. Like and shout outs to stay-at-home moms out there. That's not what I'm called here to do. Okay. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be good at that. I have work that I want to offer up to this world. I need and want to be able to do it on my own schedule, okay? Because the way we have our family is important, that can be protected and maintained. And I know there's a lot of women out there who just need that support in taking what maybe was cultivated in a corporate environment, or maybe was cultivated as a yoga teacher or a psychotherapist or a massage therapist, somewhere in like the helping and healing professions. But they want to get onto the internet. They want to connect with people all over the planet, so that they can get out of the hours for dollars setup. Like I can help them with that. And so my whole thing was like, I can help you do these things. I know what impact it's made in my own life. Mm-hmm. If I could do that and let this ripple effect go around the world, that would be incredible. And so I've just been doing it.
It sounds so like a lot of work, because, you're an entrepreneur, you're a homeschooling mom, you've been through a lot of personal ups and downs throughout your entire life, as all women have, and as all definitely entrepreneurs have, and all moms have. But you teach women how to make more money in less time. So how do you get so much accomplished when really part of your messaging is, I want time for my kids, I want time for vacations, I want to be reading the books I want to read? How do you get it all done?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I've always been pretty good at this, I have to say. I look back and I remember I must have been like 23 years old, maybe 22. And my public relations agency, and this was a big global firm, they tapped me and this other girl who was also around 22, 23 to lead a time management workshop for the whole agency.
Wow.
I look back and I was like, what were we doing at that time that we were really, but I look back, it's like I had leadership positions from a very young age. I think a big piece of it, and I'll tell you some of like tactically how I do this, but my sister died when I was 16 years old and she was 12 and she died of cancer. And that right there, mixed in with the fact that my best friend's brother died about 6 or 7 months later, and that best friend died 2 years later. So I had 3 deaths in 3 years as a teenager.
Wow.
If you don't learn at that point that time is the greatest gift that we have, okay, and that it could be taken from you at any moment, so don't freaking squander it and waste your time on stuff that does not really matter, or like waiting for this I'm going to do these things like when my plate is emptied. Your plate's never going to be empty. Okay. Your plate will be empty when you die. All right. So I just have made that choice to really maximize this gift of time that I get every single day. It gets kind of replenished every day. Like my time card gets replenished every day I wake up. And so I am really a freaking ninja around this. And for myself, and I teach my clients how to look at your schedule and how to say, okay, here's the times that you're going to be, if you're servicing clients, here's your client service days. Here are the days that you're going to be working on your marketing, you're working on your copy. Here's the time you might be doing podcast interviews. Here's the time where this is your time. Like you're not scheduling anything. You need days where you don't schedule anything, because that is what allows you to have your pie in the sky ideas, or to kind of run with something, or to say, you know what, today I just need to be outside in nature. I need to be communing with trees today. I need to, head out to some museum and just get inspired, or what have you. And so I really honor that, where we look at the schedule and I operate within these different energy states. And so really where you're working on your business, where you're working in your business, and when you really are engaged in free time. And I just stick to that. I really just stick to that. And I know what needs to happen, what's a priority, what's not. I have a great team. Okay. At the beginning, my team was me, myself, and I, and God.
Oh, yeah. When you first start as an entrepreneur, I think another misnomer that a lot of female entrepreneurs have, you don't understand how much time you spend by yourself at your kitchen table, at your computer. I mean, I know that's exactly how I started, and now I'm blessed to have people around me that can help take some of the burden off of it. But when you first start, it's you, and you are doing every job in the company as best you can. And you're also really failing forward a lot. You gotta fail over and over and over again.
And celebrate that. And celebrate that.
Yeah,
and
that's
the thing. Everything's learning, and that's such a great point. And I want your listeners to strive for that. I remember listening to Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, and she said growing up, her dad, when they would sit at the kitchen table, I think she had one brother, and he'd be like, "What did you fail at today?" That, and he wanted that. He wanted that. And if they didn't have something, like the failure was the fact that they didn't fail. And so if for many women, they struggle with perfectionism, because that's the message that we've received from society. We as women, that's our role, to be perfect, to be quiet, to get along, to just, don't rock the boat. Exactly. And so we are here to shake that up and to really bring our power as women into our work.
Another lesson that I learned from Sarah Blakely when I was listening to her is that when you first start as an entrepreneur, one of the things that's really important is to not just ask everybody under the sun their opinions of your work, because everybody's going to have their opinions. And she said she knew if she shared that she was trying to make pantyhose without legs in them, that people would laugh at her and just be like, what the heck are you doing? And so, all right, so as we are developing into entrepreneurs, thinking kind of like Sarah thought, how do you get the word out about your work? Women ask me all the time, how do I grow on social media? How do I build an email list? But it's more than that. It's not about just, I need an email list, I need this, I need that. It's more than that. So how do you spread the word about your work?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, there's a lot more tools available today than when I was getting started, which makes me feel super old. Or I just started very young.
No, just think technology just moves so fast.
It moves so fast. Exactly. Well, the biggest thing that you all need to know when it comes to spreading the word about your work is that you have to believe in it. You have to believe in it so much, like it's your child, right? And so that you just, no matter what, this baby is going to make it. It's going to make it in one shape or form, and it may change forms, and it may not look exactly the way it looks now or the way you think it's going to look when you, quote, get there. But if you don't believe in it, if you are letting your fear or your doubts about where it's all going to go and how it's going to work and what so-and-so is going to say, that's going to come across in your delivery. And then when that time comes, when some random person or even some person who is close to you, who you think should be supportive or would be supportive, says something weird or says something hurtful, you would use that as a reason to just shut down. And I see that happen way too much. And I say to my people, you've got to believe in this. This is, I mean, that's why I've made it as far as I have, is because I know this is my mission. I just know it. That's what will get me to send the email to this person, to personally reach out. I don't get impacted by, quote, rejection. Okay. I know I've got to go through the no's to get to the yeses. That's the name of the game.
Yes.
That is the game. Okay.
Yes.
If you think you're going to get all yeses, you're done.
Well, and it's like Ryan Holiday says in his book, The Obstacle is the Way. There are people that will see a boulder in the road and go, dang, that boulder is blocking my way to town. And then there's somebody who says, you know what? I bet I can grab a lever and move that boulder out of the road. I honestly think the more obstacles that we face, the faster that our business grows and the faster that our resilience grows. And so you call this, you encourage your clients to take a stand with their work. Why is that so critically important for the success of small businesses?
That fuels you so much. When you care, when you know that my willingness to put this out there, when it is so embedded in your DNA, when it's rooted into your value system, and right now we're seeing it so much with certain companies doing this, it can be helpful to look around when you'll see larger companies like, Dick's Sporting Goods is a great example of how they stand with some of their business decisions, what they choose to sell in their stores, not sell in their stores. I get fired up by that, and that might not be an example for you. It could be some other company. But when you look around and you watch these companies making hard decisions, here's the deal. When it comes to taking a stand, what everyone needs to know, you will piss people off. You will, quote, lose some people who are like, I cannot believe that you said that you are in support of that or not support of that. I don't want to work with you anymore. And you know what? That's a blessing.
I call those people the perfect unfollow. Like, you
I love
say,
that. I'm going to write that down.
Whenever somebody reaches out to me and says, I'm offended by what you said, I cannot believe you did this. And people, when you've got a big social media following, people will call you names. That first 1-star review is just going to rip your heart out of your chest. And then, like, by the time you get to the understanding that you have people that you actually want them to unfollow you and you want them to leave you alone.
Yes.
Because it makes space for the right people. It makes space.
1,000%.
Absolutely.
1,000%. Yeah. Thank you for saying that, everyone. And that, again, that's like a rite of passage. When you get that, that's an initiation when you move to a whole nother level in creating this body of work, because that's really what it is, y'all. It's a body of work. We're creating things over time, and you all can look at certain people that you respect and admire, business women, leaders throughout history. Look at what they did over a period of time and the criticism that came their way, and they were still willing to take that stand, because what you have to be able to do is look at yourself in the mirror and say, if I were to die today, did I say the things that really meant something to me? I did that recently because it was the anniversary of my sister's passing. And I used that opportunity because bodies don't ever forget anything, And so that trauma I still remember it. Okay. She's very present in my life, and I feel her energy. I hear her, all of it. And I created, that's one of my contributions, my words. I'm a wonderful writer. I'm a powerful communicator. And so I know that me putting this work out there, my words out there, is a gift. It's a gift for people. And a lot of the gifts I give are free. It's like social media, through interviews, through podcasts, whatever. And I use that opportunity to talk about the illusion that people have. And the thing with your writing, y'all, when you put your message out there, it should be provocative. It needs to be edgy. You need to, when you look at it, be like, I'm kind of nervous to press publish. I'm kind of nervous to put this out there. That's good. That's good. And so with that, I was like, I'm going to probably freak some people out with this. Okay. Good. And so I talked about the illusion that you think you have time. okay? Or that you think that you can use the excuse of, I don't have time. Really? Are you alive? Because you do have time. You do have time. The people who don't have time are the ones who are dead. Okay.
Right.
And so you thinking like, well, I'm going to, because I hear that a lot in my business. Well, my plate's too full. It's like, you need to look at what you have on your plate. Okay.
Right.
Because that's the whole deal. So your illusion right now is that you don't have time. And that is why you stay trapped. That is why nothing changes in your life. And next year, you're going to still be saying the same things. And you're going to have this angst inside. You're going to have this frustration inside. You're going to take that out on your body. You're going to take that out on the people in your life. And it's a trap. And the only person who can decide to change that is you.
Yeah.
So I put that out there, and it's like the posts that get the most traction and that lead to business, and that post in particular, it led to business. It led to somebody deciding to do the work with me. And that's my job, is to help you wake up, help you wake up. And so every day I have to do my job.
Yeah, well, and you tapped into a core problem that a lot of women feel. And when you tap into people's core problems, they want to work with you. If you have solutions to people's problems, you get clientele. And so you have a solution that you are offering all of our listeners today. You have a free download over on your website about how to reclaim your time, how to take a look at everything that is on your plate and shove off some of the stuff that doesn't matter and make room for what does. So everybody, I hope that you will go and check out Jenny's website. It's www.jennyfenig.com/schedule to get the free download on reclaiming your time. That's www.jennyfenig.com/schedule. Jenny, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been an honor to get to talk to you.
Oh my gosh, you're amazing. These Southern girls doing
I
our
know,
thing.
I know.
Like
we gotta collab more often. We're basically neighbors up in here.
Exactly. Thank you for your fabulous work and for having me on today.
The Lindsey Elmore Show is written and produced by me, Lindsey Elmore. Show segments are produced by Sue Procco and Kelsey Lorman. Production design, sound design, and editing is by Jive Media. If you have a question about this or any other episode of the podcast, send us an email to hello@lindseyelmoreshow.com. And hey, since you're still here, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And while you're at it, go over and follow us on Instagram @Lindsey Elmore Show. This helps us bring the pod to more people.